Yeah, thank you for that. I'm Steve Otieno for the Daily Nation here in Kenya. On the partnership deal with education, some 2 years ago we had a few Kenyan students who had gone to universities in Finland, and there was a delay or a hitch in the payment of their school fees. They ended up really stranded far away in Finland. So will you expect to see a bit better handling of them next time when such a scenario happens? I understand also Finland, until recently you were non-allied to NATO, but you did so when Moscow went to Kyiv, and we saw the Finnish people a bit happy, and you are also trying to help us with regional stability. What are some of the key lessons you're going to learn from you, especially going by your good army, with the long border you share with Russia? Thank you.
Sure. I mean, two very good questions, rather diverse. On the first one, I don't know the specific case, but of course, anytime there are delays in students entering Finland, I find that to be quite unfortunate. Fortunately, we have a very good university system which attracts a lot of students, and I would hope, of course, that in the future we get more Kenyan students as well. But any kind of delays, and hopefully students not getting stranded, in my mind, is unacceptable. On the second question, indeed, in today's world, we live in turbulent times, in a time when the world order is changing. And we felt in Finland, which has a 1,340 kilometer long border with Russia, that it's always good to have friends. Now, after the Cold War ended, we joined the European Union, which became our values base. But we did not join NATO at the time for a number of reasons. But I think the Finnish people felt that when Russia and Putin aggressively attacked Ukraine on the 24th of February 2022, we had to join an alliance. So NATO membership previously in opinion polls was 50 against 20 in favor. And in an opinion poll over 3 nights, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of February in 2022, it reversed. And now we're talking about support figures for NATO between 70 and 80%. So there was this feeling that we had experienced a similar attack from the Soviet Union in 1939, 1944. So there's a close emotional attachment to what Ukraine was undergoing. After World War II, we retained our independence, but we lost our sovereignty and 10% of our territory. And we don't want the same thing to happen for Ukraine. Are there any lessons? I think conflicts are quite different depending on where you are. They all have their own DNA. But there's one lesson I think generally that we have learned throughout our history, is that in order for you to be able to live in peace and prevent war, you have to prepare for it. There's a reason why we have obligatory military service and 900,000 men and women who've done it. And there's a reason why we have 280,000 men and women in reserves and one of the largest militaries in Europe. And as I always say, the reason is not Sweden. The reason is Russia. And we have been able to maintain peace with Russia and will continue to do so ever since World War II, just by having a deterrence system which is strong enough. And now, of course, us, together with Sweden, joining NATO was the icing on the cake.
On the first question, on matters to do with education and some of the Kenyan students who unfortunately got stranded in Finland, I'm happy that there was eventually, it was a very unfortunate situation, and some officials in Kenya are undergoing accountability mechanisms to make sure that whatever happened to those students, whoever was involved, are held to account. But on a positive note, the universities in Finland were kind enough to accommodate the students and to provide for them to conclude their education on an agreed framework. And I think it shows the depth and form of the relationship between our two countries. And I must, through you, Mr. President, thank the universities in Finland for their understanding and them facilitating the Kenyan students to complete their courses.